Hey y'all, it's Megan. Welcome back to the channel. Glad y'all are here today. Come spend the day with us today. Nice and warm out here. We've got a little garden work to do. But first, we want to show y'all moving our chickens with our new little chicken tractor. What I've been doing is actually just every day moving it around their circle here. Now at this point, they've been on this spot for almost 2 weeks. And so we're just gonna scoot them on through the goat pasture here, but we've just gotta take this roll of netting down. So the way we've done it here is just one roll of 150-foot netting instead of like the 2 rolls we were doing with the big chicken house. And it's working out good so far. So we're gonna see how easy this little thing is to get from point A to point B.
I know it. We won't never get them in the ground out there.
I know. I do want to show y'all the manure is falling through really good. The chicken wire is working so far. So you can hear those guineas. They're ready to go. Oh, we're going up on the side of the hill.
Well, I hit a rock. That wheel looks like it's gonna break.
Does it?
That one on the bottom side did. All right, you're gonna have to push now. I'm on some rocks. All right, there they go. They ready to get out of there. I think that's definitely easier than moving that big thing.
Think so?
Yeah, but I'm not too sure how them wheels are gonna hold up.
Yeah.
They looking pretty ragged on this hillside.
One thing I do like about it, like I said, they've been over there for almost 2 weeks and the ground's not tore up. There's no hot spots.
Yeah, you're able to move the manure load every day.
Right.
That's really gonna help this spot because across this hillside, it's poor. And it's rocky. Golly, it's rocky. Them things was hard to get in the ground. There's the little Wheaties.
There's my Wheaties. Y'all see them running with Mama there? They're doing excellent. I still can't tell if they're roosters or hens yet, but we'll see, I guess. So now we're down here. We got to get our T-posts, take them up here to the garden. We got to get the tomatoes staked up. Are we going to do the cucumbers today?
Yeah.
And we got to get our cattle panels in there with the cucumbers. So it's a good hot day to do it, I reckon.
Huh?
I said it's a good hot day to do it, I reckon, ain't it?
I guess. It's hot.
Yeah, they all fell. I guess the wind knocked them over. I meant to tell you yesterday.
We've never had peas get tall enough that they needed more fence, but
No.
we don't have near enough fence for these peas to run up.
Yeah, they're doing excellent.
We need to tie them up today, I guess. We're gonna have to do something with them. They can't stay like that. And what happened here? We had a pile of green beans that didn't come up. That was them old seed, wasn't it?
Yeah. Let's do these cucumbers. Ain't gonna do nothing but get hotter.
All right.
You go. Right there's a baby one coming up. Right over there. Well, what is it?
You know what I thought about?
What?
These ain't had no fertilizer by them.
They ain't.
Nope. So what's growing here is actually growing all on its own.
Daddy, help me.
Well, they don't look bad.
How do I do it?
Hoe it out.
Hear me?
You doing?
Yeah. Do what?
I said, well, they don't look bad.
No, they don't.
Trying to be easy with this triangle hose. Oh, this triangle's good at tearing weeds.
If anybody's wondering where Jacob is, he's busting butt trying to get his chores done, which is keeping this whole place mowed. He's trying to get that done. He's been at it since early this morning. Trying to get it done before it gets too hot.
What we typically do with our cattle panels is run the T-post down one side, and then we'll have the cattle panel down the side of the cucumber, and the cattle panel will be resting on the ground. I have seen people put them up above the cucumber. I've just always been afraid that once the cucumbers and everything got on there and had plenty of weight on that cattle panel, that, you know, even if you had it tied to the T-post good, I'm just always afraid it's going to slide down and end up landing on my cucumber. So we always lay it to the side and let the cattle panel rest on the ground just to be on the safe side. And one thing I was just thinking about is we never have fertilized these cucumbers, and show them how good they look without any fertilizer at all. They're looking nice. We haven't put anything by them, like they're just planted in the ground.
Yeah, they look excellent.
They really do. I'm debating whether I'm going to fertilize them or not. I feel like I should, because I don't want my plants to be struggling or get stunted or anything, but at the same time, kind of interested to see if they do fine without it. So, I don't know. Anyways, we got to get to doing this, because this ain't doing nothing but getting hotter. Need it with the T-post.
Hang on.
I'm gonna have to move that T-post there. It ain't close enough. Unless
Can you just wire
can
it?
tie them together like that. My foot measuring didn't work. That'll work.
You know that's good enough.
All right.
Yeah, we got way too much.
I think that's how we usually do it.
We got room for them to grow a little farther out if they will.
Okay. I think that sounds like a plan.
Sound like a plan, friend? That'll work.
Well, we got that task done for today. So this is the finished product for our cucumber setup. For years, we didn't trellis our cucumbers. I mean, forever, actually, until what, 3 or 4 years ago?
Probably, yeah.
And I'm gonna just tell y'all, if you're not trellising your cucumbers, I do just suggest finding a way to do it, because I feel like off of these 2 rows of cucumbers, I get so many more cucumbers. They're easier to find, and you're not walking all over your plants with them sprawled out across the ground, and they don't take up quite as much room. It's a little hard work for one day, for what, an hour, you know, putting back up this trellis, but
It's totally worth it.
it's absolutely, yes.
Another advantage to us setting it on the ground versus having it raised up some is you don't really have to get too carried away with tying it to the T-post. Like, I've just got one string holding it up there and a wire down there and a string down there. You know, it's nothing doesn't have to be extremely secure, as long as it's just enough to hold those plants up when they start growing up.
And all this is T-posts and cattle panels.
Yep.
If anybody's wondering.
So you've probably seen us in the very beginning struggling with one of the bent cattle panels. Well, we were at Tractor Supply a couple years ago. I guess it was. It may have been last year. And they had some really bent up cattle panels, and I asked them what, of course, you ask, well, can you do me a better deal on those since they're bent? And I think we got them for what, half price or something? So, that's why we have the ones that are bent up. Like, they did look a lot worse than they do now, and we've straightened them pretty good. But, for something like this, a bent up cattle panel won't hurt a thing.
That's right. Well, it's about lunchtime.
It is. Gosh, we got so much more work to do out here, too.
Let's go get in and get us a bite.
All right.
So now we got to get the T-post drove up around the tomato plants. So the way I stake my tomatoes out in the garden like this is with what they call the Florida weave. I guess it'd be kind of my version of the Florida weave. So I'm going to show y'all how I do that once we get these T-posts in the ground. But it is time to stake them up, because look at here. I got one down here on the end that's already halfway fell over. And I tell y'all, if you don't got a good way to stake them up, or Lord, you just don't feel like it, you'll still grow a tomato. They'll just be laying on the ground. I feel like doing it this way, it keeps the disease off the plants a little better. You ain't got little turtles walking through taking bites of your tomatoes, or bugs getting on them if you keep them staked up. But if you don't stake them up, you'll still make tomatoes. But now these over here, we've got tomato cages on these that are against this fence. And we'll just keep those tomato cages tied against the fence once they get bigger. What
I was thinking on these peas too is, let's take a piece of your string that you use for the weave over there and just tie it against the fence, and we'll weave it in and out of the fence.
Okay, that's a good
try to
idea.
Pull those back up to the fence.
We ain't never had, I'm just blown away.
We ain't never had peas get that tall.
No, because usually that fence does it.
I think we've always been planting them too late. We planted them a lot earlier this year than we ever have.
That's true.
So next year we know we need to have some kind of better trellis than our little fence here.
Yeah. But anyways, we gotta get these things in the ground. I've seen a cabbage head over here that's about ready. I'm gonna leave it a little bit longer, but I wish I could give y'all some perspective. Where is that one at? Hang on. I believe it was this one. Look at that pretty cabbage head coming in there. Look at the size of that cabbage head. There's my hand. These things are loving this little raised bed, and it's shady right here, except for right at the end of the day. So it's keeping my plants from just plumb cooking out here. So this right here is some thick cotton string. That's what I use to tie them up with.
You can put a link to that from Amazon, can't you? Ain't
yeah,
that where you got it?
I believe that's where I found it at. I used some that was thinner than this and ended up breaking a couple years ago. You remember that?
Yeah, that was like tobacco twine, like what we used to tie tobacco with.
Yeah. So with the Florida weave, your hardest one is going to be the very first one. So y'all might see me struggling a little bit, but
it's like priming first priming.
It's awful. Yeah, you got to bend down.
Well, and if you're wondering why Megan's doing this instead of me, she's shorter than I am, so she don't got as far to go.
Because I'm closer to the ground.
You're closer to the ground.
Is that the excuse?
That's it.
So what you want to do, like I said, this is kind of my version of the Florida weave. I see people on YouTube do it kind of different ways. This is just the way I do it. We've done it this way the last 3 years. And I'm just going to tell y'all, I wouldn't stake up a tomato no other way. I feel like this...
Especially if you got a big row of them.
Well, yeah, if you got a row, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you got a row of tomatoes, this right here is the way to do it, in my opinion. Because we've tried a lot of other ways, too, but...
Yeah, and even though we use tomato cages, this works so much better.
Absolutely. So I just get me a good knot tied down here. One thing about the Florida weave is though, you got to stay on top of it, or once your tomatoes get heavy, they will just fall over and break. Ask me how I know. Because I have done that and I've let them get too big and they'll fall over. I gotta pull that tight, so I just gotta make sure that's gonna hold. All right, so what I do is I'm just gonna come down through here, just like this. When I get to my next post, I'm gonna go on the back side of it like that right there.
It works better when you got a small ball, don't it?
Yeah. Yeah, if I had a little ball, it would work better. But see, I gotta go on the back side of it, and you'll see when I come back up why I'm doing that. But you go, oh, I'm gonna go all the way to the end down here. And I make sure every time I get on that T-post that I'm
tight.
Yep, pulling it tight. Keeping it tight, because if you don't, over time your plants will start leaning.
So we did probably what? Them ones we had in the bottoms that time, that was probably at least, what, 150-foot rows?
At least.
If it might have been 200-foot rows of tomatoes. We had two of them.
I got good practice doing the Florida weave that year.
Yeah, and that one is when we really fell in love with the Florida weave, because we had
that many tomato plants staked up this way.
That was the most tomatoes we ever planted ever.
Yeah, we took a notion one year that we was gonna sell produce, and
we did okay at it, but fighting the critters is our big problem.
Well, yeah, and just having the time and the manpower to do it.
Yeah, that was the other big problem.
That was the big, yeah.
It'll give you out working a full-time job and trying to sell enough produce on the side to make it worth it.
All right, so now down here I'm gonna wrap it a few times on the very end, just to kind of keep it tight. Then we're gonna start on the opposite side and we're going back down. So we're gonna have like a diamond shape holding our tomatoes up.
Now essentially all it is kind of like a wall for them to lean against.
Yep. That's all it is.
So you're not technically holding the tomato, I mean you're not tying it to the tomato itself, it's just the strings are supporting them.
But you can see here, see how it crosses over?
Yep, and that's why it matters if the strings are tight.
Yep. And I've not had any trouble with these hurting my tomato plants, even after they get huge. If you hadn't seen our videos from our garden last year, check those out, because
we had some massive tomato plants, didn't we?
I had some massive plants, and that's this how I had them all tied up so pretty.
Look, we've already got a bloom right there.
I seen it. I need your knife.
Okay.
I can't let it go. All right. So I'm gonna wrap that a couple times.
Make sure it's pulled tight.
Yep. And I usually, depending on how fast the plants grow, I come out here and do that about once a week. Is usually what it takes while they're growing. But like I said.
And it took 9 minutes and 30 seconds on that first run.
Yeah, and that's the worst one. That's the slowest one is the first one.
Yeah, once you get up here, you can actually move on with it.
Oh yeah. So, there it is.
Yep. Next, I guess we need to take some of that string and take care of this. Don't you think?
Yeah.
All right. Let's just see how good this is going to work.
Okay. Yep. there.
So
Okay.
I think I'm gonna cut me a length of string that's the length of all this, and that way I can run it in and out of the fence pretty easy.
Okay. To tie those up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon I need to come back out here and see if there's any to be picked. I'm sure there is. Well, got our peas tied up. What's next?
I guess we're gonna pull these here onions. We may actually get somewhat of a harvest off of them. We've actually pulled a few.
Some look terrible and some look all right.
Yeah, well, even the ones that look all right ain't good because I don't think they're gonna keep because that outside skin on them is messed up from that insect. However, I do think that we've at least got something that we can use in the short term here. So let's pull a couple here and show what we're talking about. So you can see here, it's a decent little onion, but that one actually don't look too bad.
No,
Right
no.
there's what the insect caused. Like we got this breakage in the protection there.
Right.
We're gonna go ahead and pull these out because I have intentions of tilling this up and using it for, I think we're gonna plant us some black-eyed peas. We've got black-eyed pea seeds, and I've never actually planted like black-eyed peas. I've planted all kinds of cowpeas, but I've never planted like true black-eyed peas. So we're gonna plant some of those and see how they do for us up here, I think, and make a little bit of a makeshift trellis for them to run on. But we're gonna get these onions out and let them lay out here and sort of cure the rest of the day. And I don't think we're gonna get rain this evening. However, we might, and if we do, we'll just come and get them up. But first off, we got to get them out of our way.
Ooh, look at this one. What is that? It's a worm crawling in it.
I didn't think they were still here.
So, I just found this. It's a worm crawling in the onion. Is that one of them?
I'm not sure. I don't know what that looks like.
I ain't never seen no worm like that. But
I ain't either.
I'm gonna lay that onion over here.
If we hadn't had these insects get into them, we'd have had a decent crop of onions here. Because they're good sized, but man, they are some messed up shaped bulbs.
That one's rotten.
That ain't no count.
No more onions over here, I know that.
No.
2 years in a row. That's plum rotten.
There's what little bit of onion harvest we get. I want to show you. Look at how that bug affected the bulb on that onion. Look at that. All of them are that way. They're all misshaped some way or another.
Yep, every one of them.
And out of all the onions we planted, that right there is all that survived.
We planted, what, 3 bundles of onions?
We planted a lot of onions.
3 or 4.
So next thing we're going to show you is right down here that we're not too excited about. See our carrots? We have had the most beautiful carrots out here you have ever seen, ain't we? Best ones we've ever grown.
Yep.
And so
Our friend,
the vole has
Mr.
come
Vole.
back. Look at there. He's eat the bottom of that carrot off. You don't know how disheartening this is for us. All right,
That's
that
a
one's
good
still
one.
good.
I mean,
But there's a lot of them that are flopped, and look at there, gone.
I say we probably should just go ahead and pull them up and keep what we got that's keepable.
That's what I say.
So, I can still cut up some that's that size. We was hoping they'd be big, but they ain't gonna last that long.
Fortunately, we still got the ones up the road. It's getting hot for carrots, so
Yeah.
I don't know how well they're going to do.
Well, that's just part of it.
Yep. And so this is going to bring me to another point here, and it's sort of like something, maybe we're doing something wrong, I don't know. But so far, this is our, well,
Second year,
second year of doing beds like this.
no till, yeah.
Well, they were tilled the very first time. And then I think we may have, and actually that's the only time this bed's ever been tilled, was the very first time we planted it.
Yeah, when it used to be yard.
It was yard and we tilled it up.
Yep.
Then we made the bed, we shaped the beds in it there, and have ever since then planted in those beds that we shaped. First year was a great success in this bed. Second year, which is this year, sucks. I'm not blaming, oh wow, look at this.
Plenty of little rocks in there for them to hit, I guess.
So I'm not blaming the no-till on the insects on the no-till. That's totally different subject. That's something that's our fault. We shouldn't have planted.
Yeah, that's kind of on us.
Yeah, we shouldn't have planted something in the allium family in the same bed again year after year. So that's totally on us. But the voles are pretty much, I think, is what's going to stop me, except in raised beds. Now, raised beds, we have not had no problem except for these low raised beds right around the garden here. So the vole pressure, because of this no-till, I think we may not do the no-till deal here no more. I think I'm going to till this up before I plant it. I'll still mulch it. I'll still do all that stuff. But I just don't think that, I think that no ground disturbance is it's making a perfect habitat for those voles to run around, and apparently we have a problem with voles here. I did notice, I meant to tell you, that the other day I was looking out the kitchen window and sitting like right here. A cat sat there for like an hour, and I think she was sitting there waiting for the vole to come out of the ground.
I bet so. Yep. Look at that though. I mean, I ain't gonna complain too
Yeah,
bad.
that's decent. That's nothing to complain about.
Nope. I mean, for us anyway, that one with us and our carrots, that's pretty good.
Exactly. But yeah, y'all, I'm not saying I'm completely giving up on no-till stuff. But you know, we're a traditional kind of people. I like tilling stuff. I ain't never had a problem tilling stuff. I haven't had a problem till I started no-tilling. And that's the honest truth. I mean, you know, we do have failures in our tilled stuff, but usually it's something related to weather or something else. But I really believe that root crops need to be planted in a tilled up spot. That's just my opinion. They need that loose soil to grow in. You know, anybody, you can argue or whatever, saying I'm wrong, and that's fine. But I think
For us,
that tillage is the way to go.
yep. I hope our potatoes don't get eat up over there.
Actually, the potatoes that we planted here in the leaf pile are looking pretty good right now. They could be a little bit thicker and darker green, but they're not looking bad. So I just a little quick update on those.
That's a Bugs Bunny carrot. What's up, Doc?
I have been waiting on this one right here for so long, thinking it was going to be a pretty carrot. Look at that.
I see.
I'm going to pull this garlic right here.
Okay.
Well, what do you think, honey?
Well, I feel like we still done all right. I mean,
Yeah, what we got's better than no harvest at all, but
that's exactly right.
the average size of them's like that, which is still usable.
That's about what they was last year.
We got a few in here like that right there.
You hear me?
Huh?
It's about like that last year.
Yeah, I mean, we don't never do great with carrots anyways. But them darn little voles is aggravating. We got one more thing here we want to pull. This is that garlic that's been in the ground for since year before last, right?
No, last year.
This is its second year of being in the ground.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and pull it because you see how bad it's fell over, so that kind of tells me that it's done. So let's find out. Hey, look, it actually made bulbs, but it don't look good.
Right now I had that bug too.
Thought something was on me. I think it did. It almost looks like it's rotten. Look.
It is rotten. Yeah, that ain't no good.
Yep, that's no good. None of that's no good. That is rotten as it can be. What would have caused it to rot? You think it come from that? You think the insect got in these too?
That's what I think.
That is, it's no good at all. Let's pull one of our good ones over here and see what it looks like.
That's a weird smell, rotten garlic.
It is, ain't it?
Yeah.
All right, this one looks pretty.
You may have to dig out around it now. Last year,
Oh yeah, it still looks good. But it still, I think it had that insect. Look where the skin split.
ain't that aggravating.
So our garlic harvest, that's probably why our garlic ain't really looked that healthy since the beginning of the year. Is that darn allium, what was it called? Allium
kind of
fly or
fly.
something like that. All I know is hope we don't have to deal with that thing again. All right. Well, at least we got that bed cleaned out. We can turn it over and make it useful for something else now.
That's right.
And we didn't get a complete fail out of it. We still got a harvest, but it wasn't what we wanted. But at least we still got something.
That's right.
So we walk back up to the top of the hill here. And while I'm walking by my raised beds, I just thought about it and I want to show y'all something. We have had the awfulest time you've ever seen with our peppers. Look at this. The buds are continually getting eat out. Same for that. You see that one's tried to put out a little bit of new growth, but it's still getting eat off. Look at that. That one's trying to come out around the buds, and so is that one. But they're all like that. That raised bed's got peppers, this raised bed's got peppers, this raised bed's got peppers. This one looks the best of all, but they're still getting eat up pretty good. I come to the conclusion it was something living in my hay that I had around them for mulch, because I have two peppers that were planted the same exact time right here in pots that have no mulch, and they look fabulous. And the only bug I've yet to see out here is a roly-poly. When I raked back that the hay I had around it, I seen little roly-polies everywhere underneath the hay. So I don't know if that's what was doing the damage or not, but what I can tell you is our pepper plants look awful. I'm not even sure that some of these are going to come out of it. All right, look at this. I mean, they're trying, but the new growth. The thing is, the new growth's getting eat off just as fast as it comes on. Look at that. I'm curious to see if any of y'all's ever had that problem with pepper plants before, because typically pepper plants is something that, as far as insect pressure goes, we don't have a problem with. Now, we have had problems growing peppers in the past, but never really no insect pressure on peppers. And I'm pretty sure it's an insect. I don't think it's some kind of deer or something like that coming up here and eating it, because it would be eating all of these instead of nipping out the little bitty bugs. So let me know what you think. Like I said, I pulled the straw away, and then I did put some fertilizer around them this morning and watered it all in, hoping maybe that'll help stimulate some new growth. But I don't know. I don't have much faith left in them, because like I said, they just keep growing and getting eat right back. So let me know if y'all have ever experienced something like that, and if you have, what it was and what you did about it. We're going to take us a ride up to the cornfield. I think I may have changed my mind since the last video y'all saw. So we're going to ride up there on the Kubota with the rolling cultivators and go up there and have a quick look at that. Here we are at the cornfield. You can see behind me, we still got quite a bit of weeds up through the rows of the corn here. And so what we have decided to do is we're just going to leave this top side just like it is. I'm not going to worry about plowing any of it and replanting it. I'm going to let it be what it'll be, because it's actually looking a little bit better since I cultivated through it. And from about everything right here you can see that I've plowed through, I'm leaving alone. I'm going to cultivate right now with the rolling cultivators and try to throw some dirt up around this corn and maybe cover up some of those weeds between the rows. And then this bottom side of the field, we lost a lot of this because it drowned it. And this is a really wet section of this field. The weeds are just unreal down here. And there's only one good spot, and that's right out in there. So, I mean, the rest of the bottom side here is pretty much a loss. Like I said, we lost a lot due to drowning. So, this part I will tear up, plant something else in at some point in time. I don't know when that's going to be. But just because we simply just don't have time to come in here and tear everything up and get the land back ready and replant, I'm just going to work with what I've got, and it'll just be what it can be. What I'm hoping, like I said, is to have these rolling cultivators adjusted to where they're really throwing some dirt up to the corn, and that in turn will help cover up what weeds is there. And if it ends up still being pretty bad after I get done with it, we may come up here and chop through it with a hose and see how that goes. But either way, like I said, we're just going to do what we can do and let it be what it'll be. Well, it looks a little bit better than it did. This out here in the middle don't look too bad. It don't look bad at all. I wish the whole field looked like this right here. I'd be happy. We got sunflowers that come up in here voluntarily from the sunflowers I had planted here last year. So they're still, that's all looking pretty good right there. Then you can see right here some of the weeds, they didn't get covered. So those are just going to continue to keep growing. So what we'll probably have to do, maybe come up here later this evening or sometime or another and maybe chop through this, or either plow through it one more time, maybe tomorrow evening or something, and see if I can wrap the rest of those up. But I still got this one plow on the back of this tractor trying to plow to China. It's aggravating. Look what a clod it pulled up right there. It got worse the farther down the hill I got. It just pulls itself in. Look at that. That shouldn't look like that right there. Look what clods it was pulling out. But it's on that one plow. And I fixed it. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's that plow right there. I think the pitch of the plow or something is just slightly off, and so it's wanting to dig down. This one, but it looks exactly like that one. That one's just scratching the ground like it's supposed to. I can't do nothing about it. I can let the lift up just a little bit, and it's still, once it takes the ground, it just pulls it down in there. So, I mean, it's making a mess. So I got to figure out something about that. I don't know. I really don't know what to do. like I said, I've done fixed it. Well, I thought I fixed it anyways. But I am happy with the results that I got right here this evening. That's looking so much better. I'm not going to plow through the bottom part yet because the weeds aren't quite as bad in that little section right there. And plus the corn's still a little bit short. So me throwing as much dirt as what I'm throwing right now, there's a good chance I'll wrap up a whole lot of it. So we're just going to let that go for a few more days and let that grow a little bit more. We don't really have a lot of rain in the forecast, so I think we'll be all right. But it's looking pretty good. I tell you what, the other evening up here, I was a little bit on the disgusted side, but come to peace with it, and I think it's gonna be all right. Well, let's get down the house. I think we got a chicken in the oven for supper, and this old boy's getting hungry.
So tonight for supper, we're having a whole chicken, some leftover fried apples, some corn on the cob. I'm trying to get through this corn on the cob. I've still got a few bags left from last year, so we're eating it quite often right now. Thank the Lord we saved plenty to get us through the winter. So I had people ask sometimes in some of the videos if we ever eat leftovers. We eat a lot of leftovers. Like I said, these are leftover apples.
And we'll have plenty of leftovers from that chicken.
Exactly. I love leftovers. It makes for an easy meal. Oh, and we're eating some of the strawberry.
Oh yeah, that's fresh strawberry jam.
Yeah, that we made the other day.
Yep, so we still got a few things we're going to do outside this evening, but I guess that's probably going to do it for today's video.
Yep. So anyways, guys, I hope you really enjoyed today's video. Hope you might have learned a little something. And
we'll see y'all on the next one.
Yep, y'all take care.